Chapter 13. The Truth About Failure. Why it's not what you think. We fear failure. We avoid it. We see it as proof that we're not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough. Society teaches us that success is the goal and failure is what happens when you fall short. But what if that's the wrong way to look at it? What if failure isn't the opposite of success, but a necessary part of it? Think about anyone you admire, an artist, an entrepreneur, an athlete, a leader. If you study their journey, you'll find that their story is not one of uninterrupted success. It's a story of setbacks, false starts, and moments of doubt. The difference isn't that they never failed, it's that they didn't let failure define them. The real question isn't, how do I avoid failure? It's, how do I learn from it? The psychology of failure. Why it feels so personal. Failure doesn't just hurt our pride, it affects us on a deep psychological level. A 2021 study from the American Psychological Association, APA, found that people tend to interpret failure as a reflection of their identity rather than their actions. Instead of thinking that project failed, many people instinctively think, I am a failure. APA 2021. The psychological impact of failure. This is why failure feels so personal. It's why people avoid risks, stay in their comfort zones, and sometimes give up too soon. Because failure, when misunderstood, feels like an attack on who we are rather than what we did. But failure is neutral. It is information. It is a teacher. And if we can separate our self-worth from our setbacks, failure becomes a tool for growth rather than a source of shame. The hidden benefits of failing. Yes, really. While failure is often seen as a setback, research shows that it actually plays a critical role in learning and success. A 2022 study by Northwestern University analyzed 776,721 entrepreneurial ventures over 20 years. It found that entrepreneurs who experienced and analyzed small failures early on were significantly more likely to succeed in the long run compared to those who either never failed or failed catastrophically. Northwestern University, 2022. The Science of Failure and Success. Why? Because failure teaches us adaptability. It forces us to change our approach when something isn't working. Resilience. It builds emotional strength by proving that setbacks don't define us. Clarity. It helps us refine our goals by revealing what truly matters. The most successful people aren't those who never fail. They are those who fail, learn from it, and keep going. Paths to failure. The 6 devil's deeds. Though we have spent most of this entire book talking about how to be successful and focusing on the positive, it is important to also know that there are 6 major barriers to success. These are not random obstacles. They are patterns, predictable paths that lead people to quit before they should. Let's, for the sake of remembering, call them the 6 devil's deeds. These are the mental traps that sabotage success before it even has a chance to take root. 1. Deception. When we believe in something that isn't true. Self-deception is one of the most dangerous forces in life. It convinces us that something false is real or that something real is false. It makes us deny our own talents, assuming we are not good enough despite evidence to the contrary. It convinces us that failure is permanent rather than part of the process. It allows us to justify poor choices, convincing ourselves that one more time won't hurt when deep down we know it will. The most insidious thing about deception is that it often feels comfortable. It gives us permission to stay where we are instead of facing the truth that growth requires change. 2. Doubt, the enemy of confidence. Doubt whispers in our ear at the worst possible moments. It questions our worth, our skills, and our ability to succeed. It tells us that we're not ready yet, so we hesitate instead of taking action. It magnifies past mistakes, making them seem bigger than they really are. It makes us seek constant validation before we make decisions, rather than trusting ourselves. Doubt has stopped more dreams than failure ever has. The key to overcoming it is not waiting until you feel 100% ready, because you never will. The only way to silence doubt is to prove it wrong by doing the thing it tells you that you can't. 3. Discouragement. Focusing on problems instead of solutions. Failure isn't what breaks most people. It's discouragement. It makes obstacles seem bigger than they are. It causes tunnel vision, where all we see are problems rather than ways forward. It drains motivation, making effort feel pointless. Many successful people were once on the brink of quitting. The difference is that they focused on solutions rather than setbacks. If you feel discouraged, ask yourself, am I spending more energy on what's wrong or on what I can change? 4th diversion. Being distracted by the wrong things. Not all obstacles are obvious. Some come disguised as tempting distractions. The wrong relationships that take our energy away from our goals. The short-term pleasures that feel good now but cost us later. The endless scrolling, binge-watching, or busy work that feels productive but isn't. The challenge with diversion is that it often looks attractive. It tricks us into choosing comfort over progress. But success demands focus on what matters, not just on what feels good in the moment. 5. Defeat. Believing failure means the end. Defeat happens when we mistake a single failure for permanent failure. You didn't get the job? It doesn't mean you're unemployable. Your business idea didn't work? That doesn't mean another won't. A relationship ended? That doesn't mean you're unworthy of love. Defeat is a mindset, not a fact. The truth is, most failures are just detours, not dead ends. 6. Delay. The silent killer of success. Delay is the quietest of the 6, but also the deadliest. It convinces us that we'll start tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. I'll apply when I feel more qualified. I'll launch my business when things calm down. I'll work on my health when I have more time. But time doesn't wait. The longer we delay, the more life passes us by. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who start before they feel ready. Final thought: redefining success and failure. If you take nothing else from this chapter, take this: failure is not the enemy, inaction is. If you ever see me failing, understand that it's not because I'm incapable. It's because I am in the process of figuring things out. And the same is true for you. Your failures do not define you. Your response to them does. And if you learn, adjust, and keep going, then failure was never really failure at all. It was just a stepping stone to something greater. Questions for reflection. Have any of the 6 devil's deeds shown up in your life? Which one affects you the most? How do you typically react to failure? Do you avoid it, learn from it, or let it define you? Where in your life are you holding back because you're afraid to fail? What's one failure you can reframe as a learning experience rather than a setback? What action have you been delaying, and what small step can you take toward it today? A quiet invitation. This week, take a risk. Try something where you might fail. And if you do, learn from it. Adjust. Keep going. Because failure is not an ending. It is the place where real learning begins.